everyone, and welcome to Taking Over. I am, of course, Ol'Ed Ed Fries, joined, as always, by the natural Astrid Pizarro. Astrid, how are you doing tonight?
Doing well. Pretty excited for Bobby to be here with us because I don't get to do wrestling stuff with Bobby anymore.
I was going to say, I tried to get Papa Smokes, the better of the two announcers for PPW, but unfortunately, he was unavailable, so we've got
Papa's always busy.
Bobby, as Astrid alluded to, Bobby, thank you for joining us. You are going to be our expert guide to the world of Prairie Pro Wrestling.
I will do my damnedest to guide you through the world of Prairie Pro Wrestling, at least navigate you through this ride of it anyway. So happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
And of course, it's very fun that I've just realized this now as we've gone live, but I'm using the wrong PPW logo on the stream here because
they're all the same. They're all the same.
The logo is exactly the same. The other one just doesn't have the word Academy on it. And I just noticed it and went, oh, that's unfortunate.
It's okay. We now, do have an Academy, so
I'm going to call him out because he has no comments in yet. And he's been messaging me for the better part of the last 3 hours. STG, where you at, brother? Where you at, man? You've been waiting for this show all week.
Look at that. Say his name and he appears.
It works.
Although he's not as good as Joe Hendry, but we'll take what we get. Basser is here. Yes. Thank you, Basser. I'm very excited to get Basser's thoughts on this because I'm assuming, Bobby, you can confirm, Basser was there live for Ring of Honor 4.
Basser don't miss when it comes to PPW. Front row every single time with Lil Bass Jr. and but now we're gonna call him Uncle Basser. That's his friend Adam. So Uncle Basser is now Adam.
Yes, Hollywood Astrid is indeed back for this episode. She's only missing one more episode the rest of the year, I believe.
So far.
So far. We've got 2 months and Astrid's like, I might miss some more shows.
Maybe. You never know.
Before we get started, I do want to talk about the fact that I was allowed to be at Raw last night and had an absolute ball. It was a fantastic show. For all of his flaws, and they are currently many, John Cena is indeed one of the greatest professional wrestlers to ever grace the professional wrestling ring. As Triple H said last night, you can define greatness however you'd like. And different people fill the void of what is the greatest professional wrestler in different ways, depending on how you look at that term. But for almost all of those terms, John Cena is in the top 5 for a majority of them, for a lot of people. So I was very honored to be able to make that trip. I am currently wearing the Boston John Cena Last Time Is Now shirt. It was a really fun time. I had a ball. My star of the night was indeed Dominic Mysterio, because that kid put on a show I'm going to steal from Bully Ray a little bit here. And again, I know Astrid loves when I talk about what Bully Ray says, but there are so many professional wrestlers that could have fallen into a terrible, terrible place being in the ring with Cena and Triple H last night in front of a crowd that normally would have cheered Dominic to no end. But because of the position they put him in, had some of the loudest boos I've ever heard in professional wrestling. And to go on there like the absolute fucking star that he is and channel his father, Eddie Guerrero, throughout that entire promo, it's just absolutely sensational. Seeing Nikki Bella turn and show her true colors, surprise, surprise, never trust a Bella. That's what Stephanie should have learned from John Cena. Never trust a Bella.
No comment on that. I'm surprised about one thing, though.
What's that?
They actually let you in the building.
I mean, yeah. I don't say anything bad about WWE. When I have bad things to say about WWE, I just don't talk about it. And this time, and this time, I was a paying customer. Sort of. I mean, somebody bought the box and I got to be in there. That damn emote. Yes, Cena did dump the Bella, but you still never trust the Bella.
No, it was the other way around if you watch the show.
If you watch her version of it on her show, yes, she dumped him. It is indeed National Sunday Day. The little animated Roxanne. I got to see the real Roxanne last night. It was nice. Astrid's a little jealous because I got to see a lot of people that she's dying to see live last night. Anyways, we're going to move on from there. That's not unexpected.
I'm not a fan of the Bellas, to be honest. So, that might be surprising to some people.
Nor should you be. They're not nice people.
It's not about being nice people. I'm just not a fan of them. Do I respect them for what they've done with wrestling? Yes, but I'm not a fan of them.
Sure. Shock, no troll. No. Anyway, Bobby's like, I'm staying out of this entire conversation. This is not why I'm here.
I'm here to guide the PPW stuff, not the WWE stuff.
Good cop out.
Yes, indeed, good cop out, Bobby. We'll get to some of your hot take thoughts on the PPW Women 250 at the end of the show. Because boy, does Ed have thoughts on this.
No, we're not getting in trouble tonight, sir.
We're not going to get in trouble tonight. It should be
no,
fine.
Wait, not we, you. Why did I say we? It's a you thing, not a me thing.
I'm not going to get in trouble.
Maybe.
Anyways, PPW, Ring of Horrors. Bobby, tell us about the arena here. What arena do you guys run over there for PPW?
All right, so Prairie Pro Wrestling, we've held pretty much the bulk of our shows, almost every show in the Cosmos Senior Center in Saskatoon. We can host a capacity of around 300 people, which we jam pack into that very tight little quarters quite easily every single time. And just for a quick history as to the Ring of Horrors, it's the fourth Ring of Horrors show. And just recently, I was going back through a little bit of our timeline. And the reason that October became the significant big show, as we call it, is because our very first indoor show, if we don't count the food truck wars that we were asked to do on the first three, our first official indoor show on our own happened in October. And then our first show returning from the ugly ass pandemic that we all went through was in October as well too. So the dates hold significantly for why we choose to have our biggest show of the year in October.
No haterade, no haterade. Well, minimal amounts of haterade tonight. Hollywood Ashley claims to be innocent in everything. Oh boy. She does. She often likes to throw the blame on me for everything.
It's just so
including when she says that Jordan Oliver doesn't matter in the world of professional wrestling.
Hey, I didn't say that. I just said it didn't matter when against Santana.
No. The words out of your mouth were, and who his opponent, he doesn't matter.
Exactly, because he went against Santana.
So does every person who wrestles Santana not matter?
Maybe. Depends on the person.
Maybe. All right. Anyways, we're here in Saskatoon again. But before the show, now again, we want to thank PPW greatly for giving us an advanced copy of this show in its entirety without commentary, which again, many blessings for not having commentary on the show.
Come on. I was going to say commentary was terrible and then you ruined it for me now. Dang it.
We said we weren't going to do that joke when we remembered that we were having Bobby
I
here.
said I was going to do it anyway because Bobby was here.
But yes,
either way,
we do want to thank
you were spared.
We were indeed spared having to hear Bobby on commentary all night. We got Luis in the chat.
I agree.
We've also got Mel saying, sorry, Astrid, Jordan Oliver matters.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. He does matter.
Except when he apparently wrestles Mike Santana. But before the show, we had sound-alikes of both Bill Goldberg and Chris Jericho. And I will never unhear that, Bobby. But that was, I believe, Crash Crimson, who seemingly is the on-screen figurehead of Prairie Pro Wrestling, and the ring announcer, I believe it was.
Well, so Quicksilver has done some ring announcing for us. Quicksilver is actually technically our sound guy. Little quick history is that Crash Crimson used to run POW back in the day. Quicksilver was a wrestler at POW, so he helps with some of the backstage stuff. It definitely helps with our audio and everything like that. So the videos you see on the screen when the guys are coming out, when the crew's coming out, and all the audio tracks are all being done through Quicksilver. So him and Crash come out do the opening segment typically. Crash is the on-screen figurehead. Yes, of course. And yeah, I'm sorry that you can't unhear those voices.
I mean, am I wrong? Did it not sound like, if you closed your eyes, Bill Goldberg and Chris Jericho having a conversation?
I'm probably the wrong one to ask in a sense, because I'm around these guys all the time in person. So their voices are kind of ingrained in my brain a little bit. So I don't quite get that the same as you do. So I can't really, I can't speak on that.
They did give us a rundown of what to expect on the show until they were interrupted by Wish.com version of Disco Inferno, which is saying something, because Disco Inferno is the Wish.com version of an actual professional wrestler.
Poor Levi Knight.
Yes, it was indeed Levi Knight, Bobby. Thank you. I do appreciate that. And I will say, I did enjoy Levi Knight here, because he did indeed give me the chuckle of the night when he looked at Crash Crimson and said, "That ref was trying to funk on me." And I'm just, he obviously watched, me in the trivia show. He obviously watched where I was getting fucked on by Bobby to have my crown stolen from me. And I kept changing my name to that, and I kept saying it. Yeah, he was funking on me. Levi Knight is great. I love Levi Knight. He instantly won me over with that whole promo there. But he is indeed a bad version of the Disco Inferno, like in terms of a character.
And I think that is kind of the fun behind it, right? Like the general fun of it is that his gimmick is the bad part. But once he gets inside that ring, or any of the stuff he does on the mic, he can go really well. He's incredible at what he does. He's taken a lot of training outside of his training here in Canada too. He spent time at the Nightmare Factory I think it was a year or two ago. So he's really upped his game and everything like that. So he does bring that level. And just to add to that, it's again, I know both of you watching for the first time, as well as some people that I had invited to the show for their very first time. That was one of the people that stood out the most for them. They found the most entertaining of the night.
Astrid, what did you think about Levi Knight and then Levi Knight versus Riley Cruz?
I liked it that his attire reminded me a lot of Anthony Green, like seeing him from far away, like the color and the color scheme and that pattern on it. So it just reminded me a lot of when I saw him. Then I was like, it just feels like I'm watching Anthony in a way. Obviously it's not him, but no, I think it was a fun match to really start the show with. They did really well together, and they had a chemistry as well. So I had fun with it overall. This is the first time I watched both of them too, so it was a good introduction for me for both of them as a whole. I did like the Bronco Buster from Levi. That was really fun to watch there too, and the headbutt that Riley did towards the end there too before he won. So, but yeah, I feel like it was pretty entertaining to begin the show with.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this match as a whole. Also, I would put on there was a stipulation added to this match when it got started, that Levi talked himself into a bad position here when he agreed to put his career in PPW on the line against getting another shot at Riley Cruz, and that was the one thing that got Crash Crimson to agree to this. And then Levi lost, so the crowd sing "Sha-na-na-na-na." Crash Crimson is very quick to find Levi's bag and give it to him and send him away from the arena already. Like, he couldn't even let him work the rest of the night. I really hope Levi got paid ahead of time, or else Crash Crimson got a whole match for free.
Possibly. I don't know if it showed up on camera because it's for the release purposes of it. It's not something we caught, and it was happening behind the scenes. But throughout the entire night, people were having a laugh because Levi kept trying to sneak back in to the building and stuff like that. But then, of course, our people working and everything would grab him and escort him back out the door as it was happening. And it was just kind of like a little inside joke for the fans on hand to have a chuckle at. But yeah, he did play it up all night long, and it was pretty funny.
Talk to us a little bit about Riley Cruz. It seems like you guys got a pretty big baby face on your hands here with this little Riley Cruz individual.
We do. Riley Cruz is very young. He came to us in about 2021, I believe, to start his academy training. Pretty much almost like, say, fresh out of high school, coming to us for his academy training there. Since then, he's graduated to being on our main roster. He's done very well for himself, taking bookings all over Western Canada so far. And he has also worked what we call the Canadian Death Tours, where during the certain months that the freezing happens enough on the rivers and the lakes to go very up north in Manitoba, he took those, and they call them the Canadian Death Tours because it is very risky. At any point in time, if that ice does become thinned out or anything of the sorts, you're right in, you're miles from anywhere. Communication is terrible up there. So yeah, Riley, he's incredible. He's going to be a very big star. He's very young in the business, but he's really pushing heavily, and he's doing very well for himself.
Yeah, I was thoroughly impressed with him. And I liked how much the crowd was into him. And I wasn't sure if that was how much the crowd was against Levi Knight or into Riley Cruz, or a little bit of both. So I enjoyed that overall.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of both. Both get, see, I mean, I'd say both get a reaction, but everybody gets a reaction at PPW. It doesn't matter who you are. The crowd will
boy. We'll talk about that when we get to the main event. We'll talk about that during the main event, because without commentary, you learn a lot about a wrestling crowd.
Yes.
Both good and bad.
Yeah, try being the guy who has to dim down the certain comments and stuff like that when I'm editing these things so that they pass the YouTube censors.
So that means that main event is going to have another re-edit, because I'm sure that the edit that we watched is not going to make it past the YouTube censors.
Oh no. I mean, granted, it has in the background, obviously, but unlisted. But no, I always I go through it. I make sure that certain areas are dimmed down, or that Papa Smokes and I are heard louder in certain spots, for the sake of getting rid of. Because again, we can't control everyone. Like 98% of our audience are well behaved. They push some boundaries, yes, but then there's that 2% that it's like, really, you're not funny. What you're saying is not proper at all. Why did you show up here?
Yeah. And speaking of Papa Smokes, I believe it's at this point that we need to talk about Papa Smokes and his attire for the evening.
Yeah,
do you want to elaborate on what the crowd will be able to see when these matches start releasing? Because I know that the Battle Royal released just recently. But yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Papa Smokes was going for like an old-fashioned heavy metal artist kind of deal. So he had his cut off jean jacket that was on, no shirt underneath pretty much, and the pair of jeans going for himself. I mean, he was looking rather dapper there in that outfit that night. You say he was going for an old school rocker guy. I instantly thought Village People, we'll let it slide with what it is. It is. You go ahead and tell Papa Smokes that if you like that. So
I will leave a comment on Thursday night's Ring Respect Radio about that, now that I've seen the show in its entirety. Speaking of things that we've seen in our entirety, we're going to move on to the next match, which is Dean Richtor taking on Uncle Phil Deadly. And is Uncle Phil just... No, there are no pictures. I did not take any pictures of the talent for the show. It's fine. Watch on the PPW YouTube channel, which is over underneath Astrid at Prairie Pro Wrestling SK. You can go ahead and watch these matches as they get released by PPW. And overall, I'm assuming the next month we'll have the whole card.
Not for this one, no. We still got a bit of releases before we get to this.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah. But eventually, all you have to do is subscribe and you'll find out.
Yeah, you'll get notifications every time a new video goes live. And as soon as those new videos are these matches from Ring of Horrors, you'll be able to know what Papa Smokes looks like.
I'm sure Papa Smokes on Twitter.
I'm sure he has a photo. Yeah, I'm sure he has a photo of it. Anyways, Uncle Phil Deadly. Talk to us about Uncle Phil, because he didn't resemble the Uncle Phil that I know and love.
No.
Which is the Uncle Phil from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
This just became a thing with the fans, right? Like at one point in time, they love him so much that they started chanting Uncle Phil because he's a beloved man. And that's just what the crowd is taken to. There is no real logical reason behind the chant for Uncle Phil. but he's just the nicest human being that there is in professional wrestling, period. Like, he is the nicest guy I have ever met. He's always there early, helping out with everything. He's there to talk to you, be a bud and everything. And that kind of connects with the audience, as you can see. It's doesn't matter who we ever put in that ring against Phil, you become the villain when you fight Phil. As you saw, we've been pushing Dean as a babyface recently over the last little while. In that matchup, Dean was not very well liked because he was against Phil Deadly, and that's to the detriment. When we were back a long while ago pushing Colton Kelly towards being our eventual champion, we had a stop where he went up against Phil, and it was detrimental to that push for a little bit, because as soon as you put him in with Phil, Colton became the villain of the story. So, you know, for better or worse, Phil acts as a heel in other companies, but he is just the ultimate babyface, as you can clearly see here, and the fans love him.
Yeah, I thought this was a fantastic match. I was really impressed by Dean, to be honest with you, though. Like, I liked Phil. Phil, he checked all the boxes. He had a good time. He did a lot, but Dean got something there. Like, there's something with this Dean Richtor, and I don't know if it's the name, which it makes me go back my old school nostalgia, going back to, you know, what was her name? Richtor from the old Bobby, the old WWE women's champion.
Why can't I think of it right now?
I know. I want to say Nancy, but I know it's not Nancy.
No, it's not Nancy.
She was the former WWF Women's Champion.
Wendy?
Wendy Richtor. There we go.
I was thinking it was Wendy, but I wasn't 100% sure. I have to look it up.
I'm sitting there I'm going through like 7 women's names in my head. I'm going, none of these are right, but like I know she's a former women's champion. But every time I heard Dean Richtor's name, I just kept going back to that route. Ashley, what do you think of Dean Richtor versus Phil Deadly here?
What I liked about it, I feel like it was very equal in the sense of like they were both able to really show off of each other. Like at first it was a lot of like Dean being dominant in the match, and then it was Phil. But I feel like they were able to really showcase themselves here. So if it was like me, like I seen Dean before, but if it was me as a first time viewer of both of them, I feel like it was a good showcasing of both, and I could see a little bit of both of them. It was like, oh, I like this about Dean, I like this about Phil, and I like that balance that we get when both people really help each other in the match, and you can tell they did. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I just like that balance they have with each other here.
Yeah, I liked how when Phil finally got in control, and I'm reading off of Astrid's notes here, he had a real good string of domination. He really took over that match for a period of time. I think that that's something that a lot of wrestlers don't understand, that it's okay to have a give and take in large quantities as opposed to a back and forth where there's nobody really in control of the match. Having the ability to go long stretches at one point with one team in control really can. And even in a singles match, you can do that as well. I think that that's a lost art in a lot of places where they try to make sure that everybody gets their fair share, everybody gets their shine, and it leads to matches being a little choppy where it's guy gets control and does a couple moves, and then the next person gets it. And I like sometimes having a little bit more layout of the match. Uncle Phil gets the win. Hopefully that moves him on to something bigger and better as we get ready to, I believe it's the December show, right, Bobby?
Yeah, December 6th is the next show. Season's beatings.
Yes, hopefully you get beaten on the Season's Beating show by El Asesino.
No, he's had his time. We'll talk about that.
Trust me, we're going to talk about that. Don't you worry. I've got thoughts. I've got thoughts, and we'll get to that. All right. Speaking of things we have to get to, and whether it's no, there was no jab, which is why I was really upset that Uncle Phil didn't come dressed as Uncle Phil to the Battle Royal, but we'll get to that later. All right, Bobby, you got to explain to me the Brotherhood.
Okay.
Because these are 3 white guys who don't look like any of them go together. Because we've got one guy in a lucha mask, we've got one guy who looks like he's a bull roping redneck, and then we've got Bucky McGraw, who looks like he's been in this business for about 10, 15 years. Looks like your standard indie pro who's just kind of roamed around the streets. And talented. We didn't get to see a lot of him in this match. matches. And they come out to Gangster's Paradise. Bobby, I need some elaboration. What the fuck is this?
Okay, so first and foremost, I mean, for a little bit of background, they've all been in this business quite a long time, more than 15 years. Every single one of them. They're all veterans of the area around here. To explain it, okay, so at one point in time, Jacob Creed was kind of our go-to guy, was going to be our top guy when we first started the company. Due to injury, that didn't happen. When he came back, we didn't really have necessarily anything instantly for him. And we had been running this whole thing with Bucky since we started the company, where he talks about the book of re-education, where he was going to re-educate the masses on proper pro wrestling and proper ways to go about becoming a winner in life. And people started to just detest Bucky. They love to hate Bucky McGraw. And that's the best part about it. So there was an original plan a long time ago to have him as the leader of a faction. And the guys that were originally planned for it, it all fell through. It never happened. So here we go. We had nothing for Creed, nothing for Dixie. They wanted to make them a tag team. So that was the original formation of their tag team. And then they thought, okay, Bucky becomes the leader of these misfits that have nothing that they're doing right now. And they form a unit. Why Dixie and Creed chose Gangsta's Paradise with no vocal track as their theme song, I don't know. Bucky actually comes out to Mr. Know-It-All by Primus, typically, which is very entertaining. But when he comes out as the group, they come out to Gangsta's Paradise, which I don't know. It sounds cool over the PA. I'll give it that. It sounds cool on the PA.
Well, yes, it's a good song. I mean, it was a great song, but these are not the guys on this roster to be coming out to Gangsta's Paradise. It's like I wasn't the right guy to be able to be blaring this when I was in my car when I was growing up. Because, yes, I was that guy, and I got looks in my little suburb of a town because, as Alex Kane says, I don't have the melanin to be able to be doing these things. Anyways, we have Bucky McGraw taking on T.Y. Jackson. T.Y. Jackson I'm familiar with. He's been on AEW Dark Elevation. He's been on Ring of Honor. He is a frequent member of the Enhancement Talent Club of Ring of Honor AEW when they come to Canada. I've seen him on multiple different AEW shows. I've seen him in LPW once or twice in a couple of matches that I have picked out to watch there. He does work the circuit very well. He's also, if I remember correctly, he was in the Rads with Rich King at one point too. Might still be. I don't know.
They still
get that tip out of here, Ashley. We'll talk about that later.
You gotta touch tips. Come on.
No, we're not touching tips.
Why not?
Get to that later. No.
Okay.
So we have Bucky McGraw taking on T.Y. Jackson. Well, we're supposed to have that, but about 2 minutes into the match, Bucky McGraw goes down and acts like, you know what he does? And since Bobby's here, we're going to really get into this. He acts like a soccer player when they're looking for a red card.
Oh, my goodness. Sure.
He acted like he got shot to death in his leg because he's like, oh, I can't walk. And he falls down and he's all hurt. And they carry him to ringside. And out of nowhere, a wild rhinestone cowboy appears.
Yeah.
And we have a three. Now, Bobby, I'm going to need some more explanation here. Because instead of making this a tag team match, which is what should have happened, we make this a 3-on-2 handicap match with the injured Bucky McGraw still technically in the match.
So now, we were keeping to the true meaning of handicap. He was handicapped as a wrestler in this matchup because of his injury, hence 3 versus 2.
Now, Bobby, if somebody's truly injured, they should not be staying on the ringside apron instead of getting checked out by the facility doctor.
Facility doctor? What kind of rich company do you think we are?
Wait. So in the United States, we have to have both a doctor and an ambulance on hand at all of these shows. Are you telling me you have neither of those?
No, we don't. I don't even know if there's like somebody who's medically trained in our audience for that matter. When something happens, we call emergency services. That's when 911 comes in handy, my friend.
As I said, the medical facility reminded me of WWE terms. That's what I'm like dying about more.
Hi, Conrad. This is Saskatchewan, the middle of nowhere in Canada. Yes, I understand it might be Saskatchewan, but that's why I figured even more than anything that there would be like a concierge doctor, or like this little like town doctor that just goes to all the big events and just like has to be there in case something happens.
No, there's barely enough doctors in Saskatchewan as it is. Their last worry is going to be showing up at the wrestling show to make sure somebody doesn't do something stupid.
All right, Astrid. I've crapped on this a bit. Astrid, save us. Say something positive about the 3-on-2 handicap match with Stephen Crowe and Ty Jackson versus the Brotherhood.
I mean, I like how overall it was a good dynamic here because it's one of those tag team matches that you get TY being the person that's isolated from the other from Steven. So you can see him like suffering through it most of the match. And then when Steven does get tagged in, there's a hot tag, which is, I'm surprised to even be able to say that out loud. No offense to him, but he's so tiny though. I feel bad. But I like the fact that when he comes in, like we do get that momentum going again after TY has been isolated for quite a while at this point. I was surprised by the ending though. I was still rooting for Steven and TY, but to get Bucky hitting TY from the back with the board that he had to get the win at the end, whether he was injured, it just come on, dude.
Yeah.
So
this is bad. This is bad indie booking 101 right here. This is old school veteran indie booking 101 of, oh, I'm hurt. I can't wrestle. Bang, hit him with a foreign object. Do the jumping jack. Oh, I fooled you all. I get the win.
Yeah, it was fantastic. He hit him with the bookery education, taught him a lesson, and picked up the victory.
Oh, I think the real victory here was the guy in the crowd dressed like Bucky McGraw that Bucky McGraw had big issues with. He did not seem very happy.
That dude is there every year, and I didn't even realize that I had seated him right beside the ramp. So that was so perfect as they're going back up the rampway and he's doing Bucky's whole little pose thing like this alongside of him. It looks so good on video and so hilarious.
Yeah. I will say TY was great. I love TY. I think he did a lot of really good work here. I also want to say that I was really surprised by Dixie Dragon. I thought he had a lot of real interesting offense in this match. I wasn't sure if it was just Lucha Mask for the sake of Lucha Mask. Because, again, this group is kind of things for the sake of things from an outside onlooker without knowing all of the things that you described. This really does just feel like no, it was not Basser STG. Trust me. I would have recognized if it was Basser.
There was Dixie's worn the mask since the start of his career, essentially.
Yeah.
He's always been the Dixie Dragon under the mask, so he's never changed.
And it was nice to see Stephen Crowe. I've heard a lot about Stephen Crowe from other promotions, from other people. Astrid, I believe you saw him when you were up there in Canada at least once during those 3 indie shows that you went off to go visit.
It was true, but yes, I saw him with teaming up with TFA at one point. So yes, I saw him live.
Yeah. Our audience loved Stephen.
I mean, how could you not love Stephen? He has all the charisma. I mean, and trust me, we'll get to whether or not the charisma is Stephen based or Gimmick based in a little while in the Gimmick Battle Royal. But first, we have to hear from Astrid because we have a singles match involving Maurice Waltz and Rich King from RK Athletics.
No, you said it wrong. It's marvelous Maurice Waltz.
There wasn't a lot of marvelous in this match from Maurice Waltz. So, Astrid, go ahead and talk to us about this match.
I mean, I got to watch him wrestle again. I did it twice at this point, and that was a 3-time. Yay! No, not much between both of them. I do like the dynamic that we get from both of them here too. Just the fact that Rich is more like seems more like the veteran between the both of them here, and the dynamic that they have with each other. He tries to like one outsmart the other one kind of thing. Um, I was surprised more about like, and I was disappointed. That's why I told Bobby before the show started. I was ready to just sing "Kiss from a Rose" when I saw him come out. So I was disappointed when I couldn't sing it, unfortunately. But this is one thing I love about the fans of PPW. I'll let them know right now. They were just singing the baby part every single time Rich was in the ring as the match just kept going. And I'm very happy to hear that happening not once, but a few times during this whole match. So chef's kiss to them because they kept chanting it for me. So I feel like I was listening to it at the same time. But it's like, no, there's moments here that I'm more used to, like, yeah, that's how I hear it in my mind too now. But yeah, I like the fact that the dynamic that we get here from both of them, like the rake of the ice from Waltz is one thing that I wasn't expecting what he did, try to take advantage of Rich King at one point. I did like the kind of like almost like swinging neck breaker that he went for as well. And like I said, the part about sporting him of like Waltz even try to pulling in Rich King's trunks for the pin too. But at the end, Rich is the veteran, so he wins at the end here.
Rich may be the veteran, but Rich is a very kind man, as we all know. We've all talked to Rich before. We've all had interactions with Rich. We all love Rich here. But he was a little too gung ho about this whole tip touching thing. Because he didn't no tip touching. If you want to touch tips, go see the guys in AEW. What is it? Mansoor and
Yeah.
Mace.
Mhm.
Yeah. God, what the fuck is his name? Great Black Otaku.
Yeah.
That's who he is on Twitter. What is his name on AEW? Why do I not know this? I should know this. I love these guys. They're great. I know Mansoor because he's great. He's the best. But they do the same tip touching thing, and they do it better. Let's be honest, they just do. But anyways, Rich got burned twice on trying to touch tips with Maurice Waltz here. Like, Rich, come on! After the first time you don't succeed, just stop and beat the guy's ass.
But no, you try again.
No, you don't try again. You don't make friends with Maurice Waltz.
He might come around one day.
You keep trying
He
to
won't.
get it.
I mean,
I don't even want to know what this comment means. Like, there are so many ways I could take this comment. We're not going to even talk about it.
There's a video of us touching tips before I left. That was the one thing we did.
Yeah. See, and you are right to say Rich is the veteran in this match. Maurice came to us around the same time as Riley Cruz. In fact, they were in the same training class at the start together. Riley hit the ring, I think, one show before Maurice did, in terms of having his very first singles match. When Maurice did enter, him and Riley, that was the first match for him when he first got in there. Since then, he's taken on the character of Marvelous and put the top hat and the glasses, and the level of the charisma has gone up from him. He's great as well too. Like, he's on his way to doing something special. He, legitimately, outside of pro wrestling, he is, I guess, what they would call a level 2, or what, I can't remember what the second last level before you're fully trained in terms of your Taekwondo training. So it's like a second level or a third level Dan. He has the training enough to get his final one, but he decided not to take it in order to train for pro wrestling. So he's a real life danger as well too, but he works very well in the ring.
That may give more context to something we'll talk about in a little bit when we get to the Gimmick Battle Royal.
I know.
Because I have issues with that, but now it makes a little bit more sense. But before we get there, we have to get to the WWE ID talent portion of the night, where we have WWE ID's own Zoe Sager taking on Chad Millz. It's always a Chad. It's always a Chad. And Chad is a... All right, Chad is a man who looks too young to be able to drink. I think he's too young to be able to be in professional
Hold on.
wrestling.
Pause. You do know that the legal drinking age here, depending on which province you're in, is 18 or 19?
Yes, and I still think he looks too young because he looks like he's 12. Like Ash McGinnis and Chaotic, he looks like he's 12.
Okay.
Otherwise, he comes to us as a frat boy.
Yes.
From the house, and I'm going to do this because I've screwed this up twice in the pre-show.
You
we
have
talked about this. Master Beta.
No. Master
Beta.
Master Beta.
Yes.
If you say it wrong, it sounds bad, Ed. You got to say it right. It's Master and then
Bobby,
Beta. If you say it correctly, it sounds professional. The way you're trying to say it, it's taking people down the wrong pathway, right through the gutters, dragging them all out into, you know what? We can't do that. This is a fucking family show. You don't want to drop those kinds of things here.
Bobby, he comes from house fucking Master Beta. Yes, it's dirty. There is no getting around it. Otherwise, the gimmick wouldn't work.
Okay.
I can't breathe. I really can't.
And then on top of that, he's taking on Zoe Sager. Again, did the booking committee think this one through?
Of course we did. Zoe's a top talent, and we gave him an opportunity to fight a top talent, and he didn't come out victorious. Zoe picked up another win.
And he came out with elephant-sized balls because she kicked him in it twice.
She's really good at that. She's taken very well to that particular maneuver as of late. But yeah, it's Chad's recent to us in Prairie Pro Wrestling, so he was out during the summer, during the Beer Wars and the Saskatoon Berries events here for us, and then this is his next round back with us. So getting into the match with Zoe, who's been with us since the start. Zoe was there 2019 when we did the Food Truck Wars. I mean, she's been there, not every show, but she's been at a vast majority of them and really paved the way for women in Prairie Pro Wrestling at the same time. And Zoe's fantastic. She always puts on a great match. She is still probably got one of the best win-loss records in all of Prairie Pro Wrestling. I believe maybe with only 2 losses since 2019 in Prairie Pro. Otherwise, she's been victorious every time.
I mean, Zoe Sager is indeed a national treasure, Canadian national treasure. She is fantastic. It's the reason why she's signed to the WWID talent program. There's a reason why she's part of that program. I'm still hoping and waiting that I get to see more of her on Evolve at some point, because that would be nice. But you guys in Canada have to let her come to the States in order to do that. So
nobody's holding her back. Nobody's holding her back. Nope. Nothing to do with that.
Her. I know.
Nothing to do with that.
I'm sure it's a visa issue, because everything in WWE is a visa issue right now. Astrid, go ahead. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's them needing to get their shit together sort of thing more than anything.
But Bobby, WWE always needs to get their shit together. Speaking of people who have their shit together, Astrid, what did you think of this?
As he takes the headphones off.
Yeah, no, right. Right. Again, I'm familiar with Zoe, being that I've seen her not only live, but interview her in the past as well. So I'm familiar with a little bit of her history here. Chad, it's the first time I watch him, but I love the fact that I love when I get to have intergender matches like this. It doesn't happen often. I do like it when the indie companies do get an opportunity to do something like this. I know it's not often that women have other women to face, so it's nice that they still get an opportunity to be on the card, even if it's against a guy, and to have a guy that's willing to do that, because not all guys are willing to do that too at the same time. And the way I've seen it as well, and the way I see it with the girls training with the guys too, I feel like it's always a good opportunity for them to grow, even when they face the guys, because they end up learning so many other ways that they don't when they face the women. So again, I don't want to say I'm impressed, because it's not the first time I watch her, but it's still like overall great performance from Zoe here. She's so in control. I love when the moments that Chad is down, she's looking at the crowd and trying to get their reaction out of them somehow too. So she knows what she's doing in the ring too. Like when she has a moments that he's resting after the low blow that she gave him, she's pandering to the crowd, trying to get them to boo her somehow. And she's really great at getting that reaction from the crowd. And I really like the way she does it, and how well she balances between wrestling and then whenever she has a moment to be able to do that and keep the crowd going. And I feel like a lot of people don't do that, and she gets a reaction out of them, and she does so well with it. Again, I love her ending here with the low blow and the face buster at the end for the win here. So not surprised that others Zoe won.
Yeah. No, and I also want to shout out Chad here because I think he had a really good match here with Zoe. Again, it's hard not to have a good match with Zoe. She is that talented. But I think, especially considering how young he is, and like I said, I'm giving him a lot of shit because of the gimmick, because you should. This is the type of gimmick that you give shit because it's so good because they have to be so awful. Like, they have to just be bad. And he's a talented wrestler. He's got something to it. So I'm very excited to see what happens here from the future. I just wanted to give Bobby shit because why not give Bobby shit? And of course, I just think it's really funny that this is the match they chose to give him. And I wanted to have Bobby try to defend this if at all possible.
Yeah, well, I mean, when the committee was putting it together, they probably don't think about the extras about what the ring announcer has to say they're hailing from or anything like that. It's generally they've got about two to three matches in mind, and the rest kind of they come together eventually.
Yes, once you figure out you have talent on the show, they just pull the names out of a hat, right, Bobby?
More or less. That's how it goes. Yeah.
I thought so. We have one of the most interesting tag team matches with a name that I can barely pronounce properly. And all right.
Lira, right?
Yeah, Lira. Yeah. Of Berat, Gorani, and Sheik Shabaz.
Sheik Shabaz and Berat Gorani.
Yes, that would be them. Taking on Reid, Matthews, and Marz the Specialist, who come in apparently at a combined height of 8'4", yeah. Which Bobby, that can't be correct. That is a gimmick thing, right?
No. So the 8'4" is when you stack them, as you'll see in this match. Okay. When they're stacked, it's 8'4".
They are a bit.
It's a combined height. Combined height. Not total height, you know.
Because they are a bit of they're a little bigger for their little big bodies.
They're short kings. Just call them that. Short kings.
No,
on.
They're not. They're not kings though. Like they're
kings of Prairie Pro Wrestling.
I think the tag team champions, unfortunately, still because
for over a year now.
That just talks about how bad the tag team division must be out there in Prairie Pro Wrestling.
Ouch.
Because they beat this wonderful team with Sheik Shabaz, who's absolutely fantastic. The thickness, the juiciness of these two guys. I'm very disappointed that they lost.
They're jacked, they're juicy, and they're certified beauties.
I was about to say they're jacked and juicy, so.
I love these guys. I want that shirt. I may ask Bobby to pick one up for me at one of the PPW shows coming up in the near future.
You can actually, to be honest, you could probably reach out to Sheik or Berat and PayPal. I'm pretty sure they sell them online too. Like you just have to reach out to them.
I'm sure. But Astrid, to give us more of a rundown about these wonderful short kings, as you call them.
I'm the font size, so I'm at the short kings department too. You know, we line up together here.
You are indeed. You are indeed about as tall as the two of these guys, so that makes sense.
Yes, I understand. We can relate on that end of it. No, I love the team of the Short Kings. It's just something that I had seen them before separately, before they even teamed up, and I never pictured them together. But I like the fact that now that I see them together, I can't unsee them like separate at the same time. I feel like they go so well together, and the way they help out each other, and they're so fast paced they are, and they're so fun to watch. I love how he's just able to like put Marz backwards and then he jumps on his butt before he throws him over. Yeah. It's like they make it funny at the same time and they just have fun with it. You can see it on the vibes with their matches. So overall, I just enjoy watching them. Again, this is not the first time I watch either team, but I just love the vibes they give me, especially the Short Kings. I can chef's kiss to them.
No, she is indeed not 8'4". If you reverse those, you're a lot closer to her actual height.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, I figured you were about to go there. I also do want to say that I'm just giving Astrid hell because I know she's a fan of the Short Kings. I do indeed love Marz the Specialist. I think he's an amazing talent. I think if people give him the opportunity, I think he could go anywhere he wants to go and do anything he wants to do. Asking Bobby for favors while you're trashing his tag division and hating Spike tonight with the audacity. I mean, listen, everybody knows that I like to just give Bobby shit. It's fine. Like I said, I love this. This is my favorite match on the entire card, with the exception of the main event. Obviously, with the exception of the main event.
That's because these two teams, they're incredible. They're really good at working together. We've had them work together many times already. These four know each other so well. Let's not kid ourselves. It's fantastic. Lira have come in and done a really great job in our tag division. Beefing it up a little bit too, because again, we had 3 core teams for the longest time. Now we've added Lira into the mix. So, it's starting to flesh out as we go. This is only the first year we've run the tag titles themselves. Short Kings have done a fantastic job being the champions, defending the belts at the shows multiple times across the summer weekends that we did as well too. So they've really justified some prestige for our tag belts, so that when they do finally inevitably lose them, it's going to have that much more impact, I believe.
Yeah, and I want to say that I really enjoyed this match. I thought, like Bobby said, these guys worked incredibly well. You can see that this is a match they've done before. Not necessarily this match, but like these guys have worked together before, whether it be here, whether it be in other places. It's obvious that there's definitely some chemistry between all of them. I do love it. I'm curious, Bobby, if you think that there's a little bit of tension in Lira, because at one point, Sheik Shabaz throws one of the members of the Short Kings into the ropes while his tag team partner is getting ready to go to the top rope. And Berat gets crushed on the thing. And then he falls on top of one of the Short Kings, who ends up giving a low blow to Sheik, who ends up giving a low blow to, I believe at that point, it was Riley on the ground, right? No, not Riley,
Reid. Yeah.
Yes, Reid. Sorry.
Yeah.
I believe that's how that sequence went. Do you think there's a little bit of tension in the mix here with Lira, or are they good?
I think they're good. I think they're selling a lot of merch right now. Not only the shirts, but the Jacked and Juicy official beers that you can get at our shows and at LPW shows as well too. I think they're on a bit of a trajectory where the only tension that exists is in the fact that I think Berat is loving the accolades from the PPW Nation, while Sheik still is uncertain about the accolades from the PPW Nation because of the hate between him and our fans for so long. He's not quite adjusted. As we're Berat, you can see the smile starting to crack. He's fist bumping a few of the people who bought merch in the crowd, so he's ready to embrace them. Sheik maybe not. I don't know if they're going to be able to carry that over, but I mean, these guys, again, much like the Short Kings, the reason these teams do so well is because they're built in a brotherhood that exists outside of the wrestling world as well too, and that's why there's so much great chemistry with these teams.
All right, there was a question we had earlier that I saw and I wanted to skip, but I want to go back to it now as we're sitting here talking. There are 2 cameramen who do camera work at PPW, yes. And Bobby, I'm going to ask you a question because it was something you used to talk about, especially to us in our Discord group, about the weight and the heaviness of these cameras. They've been updated recently, haven't they?
No, the older cameras definitely were heavy. Yes, so we've been using more a combination of like cell phones on a gimbal stick and kind of a regular handheld camera now for the operations at the moment, at least until we can get it upgraded. We might even just go forward with using cell phones on the gimbals because the look of it and everything like that turns out quite nicely. So, I mean, it's funny. People laughed when I started using a cell phone to film some of the Prairie Pro Wrestling stuff. And I said, the cell phone in my pocket is a better video camera than most of the shit that we can afford with our funds and stuff like that. So what do you want from us? Do you want, just for the sake of it, to us to go get a handheld camera that might do an okay job, or this, $1,000 video camera I've got sitting in my pocket all the time, which does a very crystal clear, nice job of the filming?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to, I wanted to get that little bit of a thing because you always used to talk about how hard it was to carry those cameras around, and then I'm watching the show and I'm going, Bobby, these cameras are tiny. What are we complaining about, sir?
They are definitely now. the thing that gets strenuous is just after 3 hours of running around on very unprepared. Like the matting around the ring is not anti-fatigue by any means. So the poor legs of Papa Smokes and the young guy that's recording Warren, who's doing the other camera work now. I know what it feels like. I've done it for so many years. I've been doing it since like 2017 or so. It's a lot of work, and it requires a lot of patience to keep in it. So.
And now Bobby is the ring girl, for those of you who don't know.
Yes, I collect the gimmicks.
I was going to say, he keeps the titles, he keeps the gimmicks, he goes ahead and makes sure that no wrestlers trip on any of the gear. He makes sure that all the gear is gotten and taken to the side. When you do get to see this show, if you get to see the show in its entirety, you will see Bobby sitting at ringside in his mask, which honestly is the best look for Bobby, being dressed like Art Clown. Sorry, Bobby. You know they can't.
It's a good look for me.
Because trust me, people, Bobby will give all of this shit back to me the next opportunity he gets. I guarantee you.
Oh, it's building. It's building to a crescendo. Trust me.
Yes, there's a minimum of 2 people doing the camera work. And by the way, fantastic job. The only time I noticed any issue with the camera work is when matches were done, people were done, and they were re-moving around the ring. At one point, Papa Smokes filmed his shoes.
Yes. So
and the one thing I would talk about with Warren is make sure that you're getting full shots. Step away from the ring a little bit, because I think, especially on this show, and again, I can't have anything else to tell. There was a lot of shots where we're getting half bodies and 3/4 shots of wrestlers. Step back if you're going to do it. There's a time to get right up on the ring apron. There's a time to take a couple steps back and really get a good shot. But it was in this match, I think, that it was a lot. And again, Lira are some big dudes, especially compared to the Short Kings. So it's hard to really make that mesh. And that's why I wanted to bring this up now.
And there's not a lot of room, especially on Warren's sides of the ring. Like there's a lot more for Papa Smokes to move around. Warren's in a very tight space, and when you've got tag teams, especially because they're occupying one corner of that ring, your limitation becomes limited. So I definitely know what you're saying. And the reasoning behind, say, Papa Smokes filming his shoes and stuff is because what you guys are seeing is not what
I agree.
YouTube.
Oh yeah.
So I always tell the guys, I'm just like, take a breather between matches. We're not broadcasting this shit, so put stuff down, keep it rolling, but just ease off.
Oh no, I just wanted to give Papa Smokes a little guff. I've been giving you guff all night. Papa Smokes deserves a little too.
Papa Smokes is an old man that's still busting ass for my camera work. I will not say a bad thing about him ever.
All right. We then get to the Battle Royal. Oh boy, was this. All right. Now, Bobby, who times the entrance for the Battle Royal?
I don't know if anybody does. It's an indie show, my man.
I can guarantee you nobody times this shit. This match was so fantastic, and it could have used 10 less minutes, because my God, it felt like some of these entrants took 10 minutes to come out in between entrants.
And yet it didn't. I know there is some gaps. And yet when I'm running gimmicks, it never felt that way, because sometimes it felt like I just sit down and somebody else is coming out with another gimmick. And I'm like, how many of these should I collect before I run this shit to the back? And do I run it back with a whole pile of them and then have all the wrestlers going, hey, by the way, where did you put my wristbands? Like, I don't know. I collected shit and I threw it in the back. Start digging. Like, I have no idea. I'm sorry. I'm a bad ring person.
All right. We have Riley Cruz dressed as the Blue Meanie. We have the Brotherhood and Bucky McGraw dressed as the Right to Censor. We have JG, the ring announcer, dressed as Joe Hendry.
Nope.
Uncle Phil was dressed as Shane McMahon.
Barely.
Sort of. I think he purchased an old
Shane McMahon.
I think he purchased an old Shane McMahon shirt off of the internet.
Yeah.
And I think it was one of the secondhand knockoff shirts. It wasn't even the real Shane McMahon one. No. It wasn't the he did try to do the dance a little bit. He wasn't great at it, but he did try to do the dance. But it was certainly not the money jersey, which is unfortunate.
Phil means
I didn't say he didn't. I thought it was interesting. Dean Richtor as Goldberg. We have, let's see, T.Y. Jackson dressed as JTG.
Mm-hmm.
To which I would say I was one of the few times I was disappointed in the crowd was hearing people say, "Where's Shad?" Because that seems a little unnecessary. I get wanting crime time, but seems a bit unnecessary for me. AJ Lee's music hit, and I went, please, for the love of God, let this be Zoe Sager, because if it's not, we're going to have issues. And then it was Stephen Crowe, and I go, oh, no, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Stephen always reps the ladies when it comes to the Battle Royal.
And I don't have a problem with it. I just saw the roster we saw tonight, and I was like, good God, please do not tell me that these guys are going to try to pull off the AJ Lee gimmick. Because I didn't want to see that. And again, Stephen didn't do it justice the way I hoped he would. I was hoping, not that I want to see Stephen Crowe in short shorts, but I feel like I know he owns a pair, and I really feel like it was a missed opportunity that he wasn't wearing them. Hold on. I think we've got a clip for this as you both laugh at me. I think we've got a...
You have a clip for this.
I'm right! I'm right! I'm in the right! And I mean, folks, where's the lie?
I actually thought that he clipped the match, and that's what I thought we were getting.
Oh God, no, God, no. I'm not leaking exclusive PPW footage. No. But you both know I'm right. That I'm almost certain that Stephen Crowe has a pair of short shorts in his attire somewhere.
You could always
Bobby,
ask.
No, one, I don't want to see them, and two, that's not the question you asked.
I've worked backstage with all these people. It's like I know way too much about them already, and we're not going to go down.
So you should just be able to answer the question.
No.
We have Maurice out here as Ryu in a wrestling gimmick battle royal.
Correction,
we have
sir.
a video game character.
Correction. As of last year, we changed it to the Halloween costume battle royal because we had the Mario Brothers last year. We had Cheech and Chong last year. We've had a few variety outside of the wrestling world.
Then please let your on-screen duo that introduces the matches tell you that it's not a wrestling gimmick battle royal. Because
I could, but by the time I tell them and then they go out there, they'll have already forgotten because, they're old.
We then get Zoe Sager indeed coming out dressed as Bailey.
Mm-hmm.
As Astrid said, and rightfully so, a bit disappointed that it was only one color attire. Should have been multicolored. Rich King dressed as Stone Cold Steve Austin, or not dressed for as it would be, because he was in a pair of black trunks and black boots. And then we get to the moment of the night. Sheik Shabaz coming out in a blow-up suit as Paul Heyman.
Yep.
Introducing his client on his island of relevancy, Berat dressed as Roman Reigns. To which one of the people in the crowd had one of my chants of the night. You need more baby oil. Because Berat was not oiled up enough to be Roman Reigns. I'm surprised that was what that young lady decided was the difference between Berat and Roman Reigns.
He cut a very good Roman Reigns figure.
Really? Really, Bobby, if I go get a picture from the broadcast, a still image of Berat dressed as Roman and a picture of Roman, you're going to tell me that they're going to look alike.
Close enough.
For what? Wish.com?
What do you expect? It's a costume battle royal. You expected everybody to be a spitting image of the person?
No, I don't. But I expected if the person who's on my show says they got a pretty good image of Roman Reigns, that they're not talking about Wish.com.
Dude, if dude was walking around your streets trick or treat and dressed that way, you know exactly what he was trying to be. So
I would, but I don't know how many other people would.
He'd just be a creepy man with no shirt and black pants.
Yeah, with a weird thing around his neck.
And a nula falla, which wasn't exactly a full nula falla. Or like one of the lays you get in Hawaii when you get off the plane.
We then had Marz come out in the low effort award of the night, which is honestly saying something considering Uncle Phil came out dressed as Shane McMahon, and the only thing he did was buy a knockoff t-shirt. Marz came out as his tag team partner, Reid.
Wearing Reid's gear.
Not to be outdone, Reid came out dressed as Marz the Specialist.
Wearing Marz's gear.
We then had Chris Nasty come out as Orange Cassidy, which obviously made Bobby very happy because that meant his two favorite wrestlers, both Bill Goldberg and Orange Cassidy, were involved in this wrestling match.
Trust me, at this time, Goldberg was long gone, so it was fantastic.
It's unfortunate. I was hoping Goldberg would win this so that Bobby would have to see Goldberg win. We then had our last entrant of the night, Tony Novak, making a return to PPW.
Yep.
As Penta.
Mm-hmm. That was the best costume of the night, hands down. Easily the best costume.
It didn't take much. Although I will say, JG was a pretty decent Joe Hendry.
JG's been fun, like, because JG is trained as a wrestler, so he can get in there and do these things. But he's so good as a ring announcer that it's kind of hard to take him away from his duty. So when he's done these, he did 1 year as John Cena. He did the first year he ever did this, he was MJF. So he had the full scarf and everything like that. So it's always fun to see Joe get to get in there and mix it up in these matches.
And I will say, I mean, the blue of the shirt was definitely the wrong color, but that's fine. We knew when he came out who he was, which is more than we can say about some of these people.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, like Rich King, like I'll give him credit. At least he looked like Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like he put on a leg brace to like be like Stone Cold Steve Austin. So I give Rich credit for, having just because without the knee brace, it could have just been Jake something. You never know. Because Jake something is just Jake Boring, and he's just a guy in black trunks and black boots. And again, I'm doing all of this to pop Astrid because I know she's a big Jake something fan. She's a something girly, and I have no idea why.
Something girly? I didn't know they had a name, but okay.
I don't know. I'm sure he's trying to get something over. God knows it's not his wrestling career.
Oh,
by the way, please don't book Jake something so he doesn't hear this.
Please do.
Jake, if you're ever in the area, give me a call.
Oh my goodness.
Astrid, your thoughts on the Battle Royal?
Yeah. Overall it was fun. I did like having to watch everybody try their best to be that person. Like Zoe was pretty clever with even the hamstrings thing. Steve with the AJ Lee. I love where he sat down in the middle of the way that AJ does too. Zoe at one point did the whole thing the way that Bailey does before she went over and tackled Steve in the corner too. I think it was to double check. Wait. Oh, Chris that did the Orange Cassidy. I like how he went in the ring and rolled over to the other side of the ring only to give us a thumbs up. And then I was like, I'll give you points for doing it exactly as he would do it. The Joe Hendry one was another one that was pretty clever as well. And the Penta one, definitely. I wish he would have been there a little bit longer than what he was for. That's the only thing. Because I enjoyed him and that it just wasn't enough time for me to really enjoy it. I like having the short kings, kind of like the way they were hitting on each other before Orange Cassidy came in. I was like, they would just hit each other and then they just flopped on both sides as they cleared out the middle for Orange Cassidy to do his thing. So I thought that was pretty funny too. That's what I love about the short kings. I don't mind doing that kind of thing just to make it silly and fun later on. But yeah, overall it was a fun match though. It just made me laugh every time somebody else came on. I was like, I see what you did there. I'll give you A for effort at least.
Yeah. And just as a background, Chris Nasty is another one of our academy graduates. Started training the same time as both Riley and Maurice, but has only just recently made his way up to the main roster.
And like I said, I thought this was a bunch of fun. Like I said, I give Bobby shit because I always give Bobby shit for everything. Even when it's not PPW related, there are things on indie wrestling that I blame on Bobby. So this isn't
I'm the indie influencer, as El Asesino said.
You really are, which is a great line. I love that. But like I said, I had a lot of fun with this. Like I said, I feel like it went a little too long. But at the end of the day, I think it was a lot of fun. Everything was good here. And if you want to see this, please, I recommend that you do. Go to the Prairie Pro Wrestling YouTube channel, Prairie Pro Wrestling SK. Go on there, subscribe to them. Go ahead and watch this. This match is already on their YouTube channel. Yes. You can go ahead and enjoy it with commentary from Bobby and Papa Smokes.
Well, from a version of us.
Yes, because for some ungodly reason, y'all do gimmicks on commentary for this as well.
Why not? Why not?
No, but Bobby is not on the booking. Well, sort of. No, Bobby's not on the booking committee.
No. El Asesino confirmed that I'm not on there.
He said, "Thank God you're not on there."
He just called me the indie influencer and said that what I say influences bookers to change their bookings.
Yes, especially the booking of PPW. This match is won by Jacob Creed, which is fun and interesting, and I'm very excited to see coming out of this show and our main event where that's going to go. Now, Bobby, does this mean that at Seasons Beatings it is going to be the champion versus Jacob Creed, or is it going to be he has a future championship match that happens whenever the booking committee decides it happens?
As always, card subject to change, but essentially probably at the Seasons Beatings. I can't confirm because I don't have that information for sure. But last year, we've only just started adding the stipulation of the title match being given to the winner, which Michael Allen, Richard Clark won the Battle Royal last year. And he went on to become champion at Seasons Beatings. So will we see that here where Jacob Creed fights the champion at December 6th? Well, I guess the only way to find out is go buy your ticket to Prairie Pro Wrestling and come watch live.
Yeah.
Or just wait a long time.
I mean, in 2026, we'll find out what the answer to that question is.
It's true.
But no, I was just curious because like some indie promotions will say it that on the next show, whoever wins the number one contender match will get their opportunity, or some of them announce it, that they'll get the opportunity in the future.
We don't always confirm it because we don't always know for sure. Again, especially when you're. Yeah, okay. I can't say much more because if I say much more, we're going to get to the ending of the main event and.
Oh no, we're not. We're not ruining the ending of this main event. Don't you dare. Speaking of the main event, Michael Allen, Richard Clark, the man with the longest name in professional wrestling and a true mark, takes on in a steel cage match the greatest Canadian professional wrestler in the business today, El Asesino. I will say this going into this. Mark versus the God. I will say this. I believe El Asesino has a reason to be upset with management because that cowardly bastard, Michael Allen, Richard Clark, did what Crash Crimson said wasn't going to be allowed. He escaped the cage, not once, but twice. Once unwillingly, and the second time very willingly, which means he should either be stripped of the championship for trying to run away and leaving the ring when he shouldn't have been leaving the ring. Or 2, he should at least give El Asesino a rematch, because Michael Allen Richard Clark retains the championship in one of the craziest matches I have seen this year. This match started with thumbtacks in the corner of the ring. This match started with barbed wire on one of the sides of the steel cage. This match involved not 1, not 2, but 3 table spots. This match involved a woman on Warren's side of the ring, continuously trying to tell us the size of El Asesino, but more likely Mark's penis size, because she kept chanting about a tiny willy.
Okay, so that's actually a chant. The little, you know what, is a chant that they've been using against El Asesino for a long time. So
it was very prominent on the broadcast version that we have.
Yeah.
Because for a good 5 minutes, Warren is seated in the exact same position, and this woman is directly behind him.
Yep. Yeah, and I could tell you exactly who that fan is too. I know exactly who you're talking about without even needing to listen back. I know who's saying those things.
I cannot tell her. The man next to her seems to agree with this. I don't know how they have this knowledge.
That's her husband.
Apparently they do. I had assumed, but you never know.
And they are probably the 2 drunkest people in the room.
Oh, it just. I'm sorry, Mel. I didn't mean to be gross. I apologize.
It tracks.
They were certainly loud. They were certainly loud.
They certainly are.
All right. All joking aside, with all of that, this is a sensational match. This top to bottom, these 2 guys went hell for leather. These 2 guys put on the best wrestling match on this card, the best wrestling match on many of the cards we've watched overall on Taking Over since switching to the indie version of the show. Blowing out the side of the cage with the spear through the cage was sensational. Fighting up the cage, going through the table right next to Bobby, with El Asesino being the one taking the fall. Having Crash right there at ringside was fun and interesting. Having you there at ringside, that close to some of this action, was indeed a bit intriguing, considering conversations you and I had on Discord going into this match about how you needed to make sure you were not involved in this match after getting super kicked by El Asesino. And then the finish. Michael Allen Richard Clark takes the barbed wire, cuts a piece off, and puts El Asesino on top of a table, and then wraps the whole thing in barbed wire. He then cuts another smaller piece off and wraps himself in barbed wire. Then climbs to the top rope and gives a frog splash through the table with the barbed wire on both of them to pin El Asesino 1, 2, 3. Clean finish. Again, I jokingly and a bit kayfabe in reality agree that I think El Asesino has a bit of a gripe here. That he was told that there was no escaping the cage. And at one point, Michael Allen Richard Clark leaves the ring to go grab an additional table for the finish of the match. That being said, this is 5 stars. This is fantastic. El Asesino's mask barely survives this match. I mean, this thing is torn and tattered in all the ways. But there's a reason why Michael Allen Richard Clark is working Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. There's a reason why he's on the radar of all of these companies doing extra work for WWE. I believe he's done extra work for WWE.
Yeah, he's been working around AEW lately, actually.
A lot lately, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Astrid. I will post a lot of STG's comments now as Astrid goes ahead and talks.
I mean, aside from the ones you mentioned, I think one of the, like, I want to say like that one of the sickest visuals is at one point when Michael is pinning El Asesino, and when he hits the 2 count, he lifts Asesino's head to break the count. And I went, just the visual of having his head barely like going up because Michael's the one holding it. And then he goes, like, we're going to go for more. And then he did everything, like you mentioned, the part with the barbed wire on the table. And I just went, how is this going to end after the, I thought they had the 3 count right there and then. And when it wasn't, I just went, how is this going to end at this point? Because I didn't know how else he would end it aside from that. Yeah, that spear towards the beginning through the cage, like that to start even just at the beginning of the match. And even just a barbed wire on the side of the ring. Like, I can imagine from their point of view having to avoid that side of the ring until they really have to use it. And I will be like so conscious of that at the same time. But yeah, and the way that Asesino just drops on the table in front of Bobby, I was just like, holy crap, what else is going to happen in this match? The thumbtacks is another thing too. At one point that they drop each other on, and they take turns at like doing stuff to each other the way they do. I was like glued to my seat, and I stopped while I was working, and I went, holy crap, how is this gonna end? But just that visual alone of having Asesino's head just like literally, it felt like it was hanging out like this. The way that Michael held it, I just couldn't believe it. But yeah, overall, it was just such a fun main event. And once I finished it, I went, so am I supposed to continue after watching this? But no, it was a really fun main event, though.
It was sensational. There is no disrespect to either of these two individuals. It was absolutely fantastic.
And
just
I'll say what I'll say. Like, I do a lot of the back and forth with El Asesino, and I'll break kayfabe for a moment here because despite all of that, the guy is very talented inside that ring. These are 2 very talented individuals. There's a reason we put them in this particular spot to work this. When we have a gimmick match, it's like once a year, generally, maybe twice, depending on the situation. We have a reason why there's a gimmick involved. And these 2 took it to the limit. I mean, Michael Allen, when he's pushed far enough, shows up for these types of fights. We've seen it before in other companies. We've seen it in our company. And I kind of had an inkling going into it. I was like, you know, he's been getting disrespected by El Asesino and beaten up all year long since last year. And I get why El Asesino was mad. He beat him last year in the TLC match. And then Mark went on to win the Battle Royal, get his title shot, win the belt. El Asesino was upset about it, granted. But man, this took it to a whole new level. I mean, sitting there at ringside's tough, knowing both guys. I know they're both professional. I know the tricks, but there's only so far the tricks can take a person, like that falling off the side of a cage through that table. Like, I was worried about that situation, even though it's happening to El Asesino. I'm sitting there going, like, I don't want somebody to get seriously injured or die in front of me. When the match opens too, the one thing when you're talking about the mask getting destroyed, Michael Allen actually pulls out a pair of scissors and he cuts open the mask of El Asesino before proceeding to start smashing him in the side of the face with the scissors, which actually did cut him in this matchup. So the immediate blood in the matchup was from the scissors actually slicing through the skin of El Asesino on the side of his face. His face afterwards looked like a roadmap. Yeah, I think he took that blade so hard from those pair of scissors. It was rather gross. I don't often share out the PPW stuff ahead of time. I was a bit more than happy to do it for the 2 of you and people in OLE and stuff like that. But I also had to show that match to Lauren because I had to find out from the perspective of someone who really likes the death match stuff, what they thought of this. And I got the strong positive feedback to the point where Lauren now figures she needs to come out to Saskatoon to be at a Prairie Pro Wrestling show because she loves 2 things, our audience and that matchup.
It's hard not to love this audience. Well, a couple of people, again, you know.
A couple of bad seeds, always.
I don't even say bad seeds. There's just a couple of unfortunate chants, and every wrestling crowd has an unfortunate chant at one point or another. Things happen. It's fine. Life goes on, as long as they don't continue to be those bad seeds. Then things will be all right. I'll fly to Saskatoon for Lauren.
Come on out, STG. Come on out.
Well, we finished the Prairie Pro Wrestling portion of the show. And again, we do want you to check them out on Twitter, PPWYXE. Bobby, what is the YXE?
YXE is actually the so everybody in, it's our airport. Like our YXE is the Saskatoon airport, right? So everybody's got their call letters for their airport and everything. Saskatoon's is YXE. Everybody's got their, I think Edmonton's is YEG kind of thing. So YXE is all, known for being Saskatoon, so that's why we do YXE.
Lauren, Bobby, and Papa Smokes, bells in.
Let's do it. Come on down.
Those are letters that I assume correlate to places, so
yeah.
All right, we're gonna end the show talking about the PWI Women's 250. No, Ash, we're not gonna talk about that portion of it. I will, however, read off the top 10. Mercedes Moné comes in at number 1. Timeless Toni Storm comes in at number 2. Saya Kamitani comes in at number 3. Tiffany Stratton at number 4. Stephanie Vaquera at number 5. Io Sky in all caps at number 6. Athena at number 7. Sari at number 8. Naomi at number 9. Rhea Ripley at number 10. I did not put him up to this. I did not say any of this. I may agree. It does not, however, discredit this list immediately. There are an immense amount of wonderful, talented people that put this list together that I don't discredit anything. Kevin has come out and said that the list is indeed one person off because, unfortunately, in some version of the list, Hyan was on the list, and then some point towards the finish, Hyan accidentally got removed from said list for no reason of her own. It was an accidental thing on the list makers. So Hyan should be somewhere on this list, but unfortunately she is not. I have some issue with the top 10. Most of it is order version. And I would start at the top where I would say, while Mercedes has a bunch of titles, I would say that the more important person to women's wrestling in the year 2024 is Timeless Toni Storm. And I think that should be something that carries more weight than somebody who goes to a promotion once to collect championship belts and then doesn't go back for months to, at least 2 or 3 shows at a time. Yeah, exactly. And never defends them. I get belt collector, but if you're going to be belt collector, I need you going to these shows and defending said belts. I also think that Tiffany Stratton is far too high on this list. I'll be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I think number 4 for Tiffany Stratton is far too high on this list. I think she should be top 10, but I have her closer to 9 or 10 than I would have her at 4.
Mm-hmm.
Stephanie Vaquera, I believe, belongs at number 5. I think she had a hell of a year, considering that you've got to remember both her NXT Women's Championship, NXT North American Women's Championship, and Raw Women's World Championship reigns all coalesce into this. So I think that one, and I believe she was Queen of the Ring as well. No, she didn't win Queen of the Ring.
It was a Saudi one. I forgot.
Okay, no, that was Jade Cargill won Queen of the Ring. But like I said, the names on that list in the top 10 are all there. I would order that list a bit differently. The biggest problem I have with this list, because honestly, I don't have the biggest problem isn't Mercedes Moné at number 1. It's Athena at 7. I think the biggest problem with this list is Athena's at 7. I think she needs to be top 5. I don't know enough about Saya Kamatani to be able to say whether or not she deserves number 3. I always think that there needs to be a top 5 for somebody from one of the Japanese women's promotions. Astrid, what do you think of the top 10 before we start going into some notable names and notable places?
I think at this point, to be honest, it should be a women's 300, not even 250 anymore, because one thing that I didn't account that I'm looking at online most of the time is that there's a couple of women, for example, Charlie Evans from Australia, that was not even ranked to begin with because she wrestled for a lot of world titles and she wrestled a lot of men overall at the indies where she's at. So she was saying, oh, I wasn't even on the list to begin with. And like you said, Hayam was another one that slipped out that wasn't even ranked. I think I saw Ash by Elegance mentioned that she wasn't ranked either, and she had enough matches, and it's the fact that she was in a lot of tag team matches, which doesn't count towards the women's 250. So I think at that point that makes it a little bit more trickier because there's so many other women. How do you have somebody like Ash that's been so active in TNA before she relinquished all her titles and had a couple other championships too, because she had one in Florida as well, and not being ranked? It just feels like, I feel like she improved a lot and she really showed her like improvement and showed some work since being released from WWE. So I feel like she should have been ranked. But again, the criteria is what really kind of changes things a little bit here. A lot of people don't realize that the criteria is they have certain dates. It's almost like the Grammy nominations. You have to have it like have a certain number of matches by a certain date. If not, it doesn't qualify. So there's certain people that are like, hey, I didn't qualify. I think Aaliyah James, that used to be in NXT UK, didn't rank either. She's one that was really active in the indies as well. So that's why at this point, I feel bad for the people that didn't get ranked, because as a lot of people started thinking about, this is a good way to promote myself. It'd be like, oh, I'm at the women's 250 and this is my number kind of thing. And also a lot of them worked hard enough in the indies too, and then they don't get noticed. They almost feel like, oh, I didn't get noticed because I didn't do a well enough job, and they really take it to heart, as you can see by their social media. And that's why I feel really bad. And I feel like at this point it should be a 300. And it's incredible to think about the fact that we should extend it that much at this point, because there's so many women that are active. And who knows how many other women in the indie scene that were not even ranked to begin with that we don't have knowledge about either. So who knows at this point how many other women could have made the list. I do like the fact that we get a lot of mixes. You know, there's a lot of US companies, a lot of Japanese companies. There's a lot of Mexican representation as well. So one thing I will speak on is I like the representation overall that they have with the women here. There's a lot of Black women. I've seen people from Australia, people from the UK scene. So there's a little bit of everything, which I like to see as well. But at the same time, yeah, I understand how some people feel bummed when they don't find themselves there and they just question themselves, like, why wasn't I ranked? And I think it just has to do with the division they work at. Like a Charlie Evans, for example, I guess that she wrestles for a lot of world titles, so it doesn't qualify her. She needs to wrestle more women because that's what the rankings for. So I feel like that makes it a little bit tricky. A lot of people are like, oh, my favorite wasn't even ranked, and it's because it depends on who they wrestle. So that's why I feel like the criteria should be adjusted a little bit in that sense of it, especially when you have a separate one for the teams too. But like you mentioned, I like Mercedes being there. I get the point of her. I don't want to say never because she has defended some of those titles. So it's not like a never thing. It's just not all of them. So I understand that point. But at the same time, if you think about all the championships that she's had, the number of days she's had a TBS champion, I feel like she should be in the top 5 at least. So I understand her ranking that high.
Oh, yeah.
The other one that I agree with is Tiffany too. I feel like Tiffany, the only thing towards her ranking will be that she had like a long reign as champion as the rankings were happening. I don't agree with how the reign was going, so that's why I feel like she should have been lower than the number that she had versus like an Athena who's been champion for over 1,000 days, and I think that counts more than the reign that Tiffany has had so far. So that's what I've seen so far, little bits and pieces here and there. I'm still looking at. I bought the digital version so I can share it with Mo so we can discuss it later on as well. But yeah, looking at it here and there, I like to see the Nina Samuels, for example, that's ranked in there. Obviously, a Roxanne. I think somebody mentioned that Raquel Rodriguez is not even ranked.
Not even ranked.
And she's in a lot of tag team matches, and that's another thing that probably hurts her in the long run as well. But it's just surprising to see the names that are not on there because of the criteria. But yeah, overall, I just want to see what it's like. I feel like it's when the PWI happens, it just feels like that gif of like the chaos and the fire happening in the community because everybody's going back and forth of like, my favorite should be here, my favorite shouldn't be here, and all those people. But I feel like Billie Starkz is another one that could be higher. She works a lot of stuff in the indies and works super well what she does. So,
her dad was not happy.
No, but she does a lot of indie work and she does a lot of
Mhm.
singles too. But she also wrestles a lot of men, so maybe I don't know if maybe that's why she was ranked a little bit lower. But yeah, overall, it's just like it's like a so-so thing. I just want to continue like reading it and like looking more at the rankings and kind of comparing it from there on. But I like to see the women that just like look at it and they're like, I feel bad for those that are like bummed about it and like how low they were or they didn't rank at all. So I do feel really bad on that aspect of it. But I like seeing people like Kevin who say, hey, yeah, this is my bad, or yeah, they didn't rank because of X, Y, and Z, and he would tell you the reason why.
Yeah. I do want to go over a few of the names. The top ranking full-time non-signed independent wrestler on this list, as far as I can tell, non-Japanese, is Nina Samuels at number 25, which is a lot higher than I thought that somebody who works primarily only on the indies would have been. Alex Windsor at number 32, Megan Bain at number 33. We've said the name Megan Bain a lot on this show, so I figured talking about Megan Bain at 33. Kenzie Page at 35. I thought was a very interesting name, outranking people like Kalani Jordan and Fallon Henley, who were in the 40s. Lola Vice somehow claiming the 48 spot on this list. I'm just that might be a bigger indictment of this list than anything else. She's also listed, by the way, in this magazine. She's also listed as one of the most improved wrestlers. And I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Vert Vixen ranking number 58. Jade Stone ranking 57. I have the whole list here. I'm just going.
I think Maya's in the 80s, right? 84, 85, something like that.
Maya World is 84. Yeah. Charity King 86.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say Giselle Shaw coming in at 71, a Canadian, wonderful Canadian. Tiffany Nevis coming in at 69. The NWA Women's something champion.
TV
I forget
champion,
which.
I think.
Is it the TV champion? I see her tweets. I just can never remember. Delmi Exo coming in at number 80.
Nice.
Lena Cross. I love this little section. Delmi Exo at 80. Nightshade at 81. Maya World at 84. Charity King at 87. Trisha Dora at 87. Charity King at 86. Trisha Dora at 87. Lena Cross at 88. Maggie Lee at 89. Those are all, for the most part, names we've talked about on this show.
Mm-hmm.
And if not our show, Bobby and I have talked about Delmi Exo a lot because of the talent that she
fair
has.
amount of times, yeah.
Billie Starkz ranking 98, right between Alexa Bliss and Deonna Purrazzo. Also, Deonna Purrazzo, Ed loves Levi. Deonna Purrazzo ranking in the top 100 here. Why? How? I love Deonna. If this were based on women's talent in the professional wrestling world, I would wholeheartedly agree that Deonna Purrazzo is in the top 100. On the past year?
But she's had a lot of indie bookings, though. Mm-hmm.
Top 100 worth indie bookings?
Yeah. There's been a book, but she's at an AEW and Ring of Honor. She gets, especially Ring of Honor, she gets booked in indie stuff.
Yeah, but to have her ahead of somebody like Izzy Dame at 109 is a bit of a thing. To answer that question, Julia is 21, right in between Blake Monroe and Roxanne Perez. But like I said, this list is chock full of people that we've been talking about, as it should be. Ava Lawless at 155, somebody that Astrid's interviewed, somebody that Bobby knows very well based on the independent wrestling scene up in Canada. Laney Luck, 166. Somebody that I really enjoy, Sechin Martina, ranking in at 182, is a personal favorite of mine. Haley Hood, Hollywood Haley J, ranking it at 187. Bobby, you'll be interested to know this. Top 250. Where do you think your girl Becca ranked?
You better tell me she at least ranked. That would be nice. But
I can confirm to you that she's at least on the list.
I mean, she might have been busy making music at the time, so we'll say 222.
Well, you'll be pleasantly surprised. She's 197.
Good for her. Well done.
Brittany Brooks, 206. Nicole Matthews, 209. Kelsey Reagan, 210. Rebecca J. Scott. Again, I'm going over names that we've been talking about that we know. Rebecca J. Scott, 217. Let's see. Nixie XS, 225. Viva Van, somebody that I think we're all familiar with for a variety of different reasons. I don't think any of us are familiar with her for the same reason. But Viva Van, 230.
I feel like that one should be higher.
I really do. Taya Valkyrie, 238.
She hasn't done much, to be honest. So,
Bobby, you're asked a question. Why do you think she ranked 222? Which, by the way, is a spot for a semi-problematic individual, Ivelisse.
Why 222? Well, because it's the only thing that fits into 666 equally. So,
also, Gabby Forza, 223. And then the last name that I think we should all talk about that we all know and some of us love, Izzy Moreno does indeed get her first ranking in the PWI 250 at 244. Like I said, I think the list is all right. I think that there's definitely some issues with the list, and I think, like we talked about, some of the names that should be there that aren't there, some of the names that are there that, but again, this is what happens when you have a committee, when you have a bunch of people doing a list. And again, Astrid talked about the criteria. I do have the criteria right here, and I will mention it. The evaluation period is October 1st, 2024 to September 30th, 2025, which is essentially October to October. In-ring achievements, the win-loss record, championships, and tournaments won is the top criteria on the list of criteria, including influence with visibility and prestige within a promotion and or the industry. Technical ability, variety of moves, quality of matches, and in-ring storytelling is third on the list, which tells you that this is a pretty kayfabe list. Competition, success against the most varied and highest quality opponents, which again begs the question why people like Charlie Evans aren't valued higher, why people like Billy Starks aren't valued higher.
I don't think Charlie's not even on the list.
But that's what I'm saying. People like that should be ranked higher or on the list or valued more because one of the things is success against the most varied and highest quality opponents. The ones wrestling the men have a whole lot higher quality wrestling opponents than these people that are just wrestling the women. Again, there are fantastic women who wrestle just the women, but people like Gabby Forza, people like Charlie Evans, people like Lena Cross, people like Billy Starks, people like Megan Bain, Becca. These are the kinds of people that when you wrestle the men, you wrestle a higher caliber of individual. And of course, the activity is the final thing. It is a minimum of 10 single matches total, or barring this, 6 singles matches in 6 separate months. Like I said, take it for what it's worth. This thing is good for one thing. Well, sorry, 2 things. Twitter arguments and podcasts. Which, speaking of, Astrid and Mel will have a show about this, I'm sure, shortly.
Maybe.
Bobby, where can the good people find you?
Well, you can, after we talked all about it, find me at Prairie Pro Wrestling every Saturday where Lava Smokes and I actually do commentary over these matchups. One new matchup every single Saturday for your enjoyment of the Prairie Pro Wrestling YouTube channel. As for what I got coming up as well, too, this Thursday, you can join myself and Papa Smokes for Ring Respect Radio, where we're going to be covering SPW New Zealand's Halloween Haunting that's just dropped on YouTube. So all of that conversation coming at you Thursday night, and then right back here to talk all about my disappointing week in sports in terms of our NFL predictions and fantasy football and everything else that I'm taking a decline on, but also to talk about all the enjoyment of the week in sports as well, too, while we're at it. That's Point of View, Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time.
Astrid, where can the good people find you?
You can find me my Twitter and Blue Skies, Astrid Pizarro, and my Instagram and Threads, Astrid Pizarro 20. You can find me every Tuesday on Taking Over with this one right here, if you haven't seen it yet. I know Bobby and I have a couple episodes of Killer Cuts that we have released recently. I know we have more that we have to plan out with everything coming up too. We have the most recent one is a trailer reaction to Screen 7. So watch it if you haven't. You can also subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the like button and hit that bell to be notified when I upload or go live.
For me, you can find me in the usual places, but make sure that you follow our local establishment, Ol'Ed Podcasts, on all of your favorite social media platforms and YouTube and Twitch at our local establishment. If you're here on YouTube, give the video a like. Leave us a comment after the show to let us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. Give us your thoughts on the PWI Women's Top 250. Go ahead and leave those comments, and one of us will be in there to go ahead and reply to comments. Please leave respectful comments. We would appreciate. That's meant for you, STG. And also for everybody else, but specifically STG. And one of us will be in there in the comment section to go ahead and talk to you about all of those wonderful things. You can, of course, catch me and Astrid next week as we go ahead and do, let me pull up said list just to make sure I have the right show. West Coast Pro Wrestling. And again, this is not their most recent show. This is actually the one before that, because this is the show that features Carl Fredericks on it, I believe, if I remember correctly. So we are doing...
And I believe they're uploading more of their stuff on their YouTube channel. Subscribe to them if you haven't yet, because they're definitely adding more. So
yes. And we, like I said, we will have the link to the show with all the good stuff. There was none of that this week because there was no watching of the show ahead of time. So we didn't do a lot of publicity and things like that because, again, PPW was gracious enough to give us an advanced copy of this because PPW releases matches week by week, and they're still catching up on their backlog. So we, again, graciously appreciate all of the fine work from all the great people at PPW. Follow them at all the social medias down here. Please give them a like and a subscribe on YouTube. We would greatly appreciate it for all the kind things that they do for us. And, of course, hopefully they'll push El Asesino to the World Championship at the next show. We can only hope for them to do the right thing at some point. But for myself, for the Booker Extraordinaire, Bobby Munson, for the Natural, Astrid Pizarro, we'll talk to you next time. Goodbye.
I am in misery.